I recently bought some new product from Magic the Gathering, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it because I haven't seen too many people mention this brand since it seems to be kind of new, and that is Heavy Play. Now I got a deck box, and I also got sleeves for it, and so I wanted to talk about them, compare them to what I know, what I have interaction with, show you some of the differences, what I like, what I don't like, and maybe just give you some insight on a future purchase you might make or something to avoid if you don't like it. So let's get into some of the things that I have from my limited hands-on time. And the first thing we'll start with is the sleeves. So as you see here, this is the Heavy Play sleeves. They have the rounded bottoms on the corner here, the rounded corners. And I'll have some other ones here for comparison. Orange here is Ultra Pro, and yellow here is Dragon Shield. So typically my go-to is Dragon Shield. I like the fit better. I like them being slightly larger than the card. Ultra Pro feels really good to shuffle, but I'm just super nitpicky about the cards always kind of starting to sneak out the top of the sleeve, and that is a gripe that I have with these, a little bit less so than Ultra Pro. I think Ultra Pro is a little bit worse in regard to the card kind of sliding up to the top, but they do also do that in the Heavy Play sleeve. So if that is something that annoys you, I will say that that will happen with these. Right now, I think Heavy Play only has glossy. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about their total catalog. I don't know. I'm just going to talk about what I have here. So we're going to compare what I have is the glossy Heavy Play, glossy Dragon Shield, and the matte finish Ultra Pro. The overall feeling and thickness quality, if I compare the Dragon Shield compared to Ultra Pro compared to Heavy Play, I will say that Ultra Pro and Heavy Play thickness wise are probably the most similar feeling. They both are a little bit thinner feeling than the Dragon Shield. The Dragon Shield sleeve definitely feels like it's a little bit thicker and has a little bit more rigidity. It feels a little bit more solid overall compared to these two. But between these two, I have to say that I prefer the Ultra Pro just because this sleeve feels something feels a little bit tacky on it. I can't put my finger on it, and I know that it's a little bit nitpicky, but there's things about it I'm not a big fan of. On the edges here, they're a little bit rolled up, so they have this ridge that you can really feel is really prominent, at least on the box that I got here. I only have one order of them, so it could be just an issue with this order, but they have a really prominent edge that just bothers me a little bit, especially if the card's face down. You can really feel it pulling against the fabric of a play mat, and I think that as a personal preference would really bother me. But also factoring in the other things that I said, I don't really use these Ultra Pro ones either, just because of the fact that I don't like the card slipping out the top, and that's the main reason I kind of avoid them. But I wanted to give these a fair shot as well. So outside of those two things, they don't feel like they're gonna break. They don't feel cheap. They just feel like, when I say tacky, they feel like they're just a different plastic. They're a different type of plastic that these other companies use, and right now I don't know if that's a good or bad thing because I don't have enough hands-on time with it, but I'm just going to make observations based off of what I'm noticing hands-on wise. But outside of that, I can't make too many other complaints. I do prefer the curved corners compared to the spiked corners. I'm actually really quick and also show you guys what the card looks like inside of the sleeves, because I forgot to do that. So I'm going to use this card here that I had off to the side, looking to see if I could fit into a deck. And here is what it looks like in the Heavy Play sleeve. Now this is just a regular Magic card. You can see there is a little bit of a gap at the top. The card corners fit in nicely in the bottom. Overall, decent fitment. You can see there's not too much wiggle room, but there is a little. Not too bad. I can't complain too much, honestly. Comparing that to the Ultra Pro, a little bit more of a snug fit on the Ultra Pro. As you can tell, the top, a little less give on the top. So comparing Ultra Pro to the Heavy Play has a little bit more give in regards to the card kind of sneaking out the top, which I do like. I do like more than the Ultra Pro in that regard. I just don't like my cards sticking out the top. It's just not my thing. And then my personal favorite, Dragon Shield sleeves. The fitment is just completely different because it's not meant to be a perfect fit type of sleeve. So take that information as you will, but the fitment is just overall feels like it just holds the card in better. It feels, what I will say, overall it feels flatter. Dragon Shield sleeves make it almost feel flatter than any other sleeve I have, these two included. So that's the only thing I will say outside of fitment. I think that overall, fitment wise, Ultra Pro is the worst in my opinion because it is too perfect fit for me. This one I think is a good middle ground, and Dragon Shield obviously has a little bit excess over the top sometimes. I'm okay with that just because of how flat the card feels a lot of the time. And then we'll move on to now the deck boxes. When comparing deck boxes, there's a lot of options out on the market. Heavy Play has a pretty aesthetic, in my opinion. Feels rigid, it feels solid, it feels like if I happen to drop this, that it's not going to pop open like this. This magnetic release is, I mean, you can hear it's a fairly strong connection, and so I don't think that that would ever be a problem. I haven't really thrown this at a wall or you know, spiked this at the floor in anger, so I couldn't tell you how truly strong it is against, you know, anger. But comparing it to some of the other ones, something basic like this, like a quiver, this is just plastic construction. I used a lot of these for like tokens, or if I'm building a deck, I put some cards in here that I'm working towards building in something like that. So that's not a mainstay, but that is an option. Some people do use that. This is one I got from Amazon. You can put your card in the front. Again, so has a little bit of flex to it, but definitely more rigid than the quiver. Has a flip lid on it, decent bit of space, a little bit more comparable to the Heavy Play one. Something that's also in the same vein, I use this one for tokens now. This is the Game Genic Sidekick, I believe. This is the one that you can have the little tray on the underside with. This is what I use for my majority of my tokens, if you couldn't tell by the label. So I'm a Ultra Pro fanboy when it comes to deck boxes. So I have the Ultra Pro Tower. I don't know if this is the official name, but you know, the big one is called the Tower. I'm just gonna call this the Tower Mini, the Tower Junior. And then I have the regular Ultra Pro Towers that have the bottom section for tokens, dice, whatever. These ones don't. So these are what I have experience with. This is the new one. So some of the takeaways I'll mention is that if you're looking for extra storage, this one is nice because they have an option that you can buy with these deck boxes that is basically an attachment that is a whole different dice container, token container that you can have hooked up to it. So I will say that I think Heavy Play wins in a lot of these categories outside of the Sidekick. I think that the Sidekick Pro with the drawer and the Ultra Pro Tower that has the dice thing on the bottom, I think that these three are comparable. I think that the Heavy Play one probably beats out your Quiver, your generic Amazon one that has no drawer in it, and then the smaller Ultra Pro ones, just because if you're looking for a little extra storage, these ones don't have an option to attach or make bigger. You know, you get what you get, and that's about it. Whereas with this one, you can use it as what I'm using it for right now, where it's literally just a deck, and in the back there's only a couple things where it's dice, there's a ring for ring bearer, and that's it, and then a couple tokens in the back. But I don't have the dice attachment because I was like, well, I'm going to use it for a deck that I don't think I need that for. So it more so comes down to use preference. I think that genuinely it has impressed me. I think that I might, going forward, I might use these deck boxes a lot if I don't need a lot of tokens. Now, I might have to, before I make any assumptions for this deck box, at least get one of the token attachments in the back and just give it a little play. But I'm just hesitant because I do get a little nervous with the magnetic attachment connectors to deck boxes, because it's a magnet, right? So at the end of the day, I tend to trust a hard solid attachment like something like this as opposed to a magnet. But I can't make any assumptions because I haven't had any hands on, so I don't know how it fits. I don't know the strength of it. I will say that if it's as strong as this magnet here, I do think that it wouldn't be a problem as long as you're not being overly aggressive with it. The plus sides, I think the deck box is really impressive. If you guys are really looking for a nice compact deck box, I think that these are actually a genuine solid choice. It is super compact. It is genuinely, it's a little long. So this is how long it is comparative to the Ultra Pro. And just to show you guys, if you don't know, Ultra Pro is vertical like that. And this one is also the same. This one's a little bit more lax because this one can fit more cards. I got the longer version of this deck box. So you can get a shorter version of it as well. So it just depends. I always would rather have a bigger one. If I have more space, or if I need more space, I have it. So my overall takeaways, I'll say, is that I genuinely think that what I would be looking to use Heavy Play for would be their deck boxes. I will say that, oh, I forgot about this lonely one here. We'll put this one here. I will say that I don't want to shoot them down before I get enough playtime on them, so I will use the sleeves a little bit more. I'm going to sleeve up one of my decks and use the sleeves and get some playtime on them just to make sure that my thoughts and feelings on them are valid. I don't want to justify my dislike of them without getting enough repetition on them. So I need to get more time on those before I can make a valid assessment. I will say that just from an initial standpoint, a first impression, they're not something that is outperforming my favorite sleeve brand, which is Dragon Shield. But other than that, I think they have a lot of potential. I like their styling. I think that they're in a field where they have plenty of room to grow, and so I think that I'm definitely gonna be keeping my eye on them, and that I might get more deck boxes in the future, because Lord knows I cannot stop making decks. So if you guys have any interactions or use, or you want to let us know your experience with heavy play, leave a comment down below. I'm curious as to see if what other people think about this brand and aesthetic wise and all of that. I know everybody has different tastes and different flavors. I know some people hate Ultra Pro as well. So it's all a personal thing at the end of the day. If you hate it, you hate it. If you love it, you love it. But I will say, if you're going to go for anything from heavy play, at least try a deck box for sure. Start there and then move forward with the brand if you really like it. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this unscripted, very bare bones review of a product I haven't used too much. Like I said, I need to put reps in on it, and so take this all with a grain of salt. But so far, I will say promising. Okay.